Hi everyone. This week we're going to talk about marketing. And when you think about a strategic plan, there's the overall marketing plan that may happen from a marketing department or from leadership. But then we also want to talk about the marketing that can occur based on the service that you provide. So, what is marketing? Well, it's an activity, set of institutions and processes for creating, communicating, delivering, and exchanging offerings that have value for customers. So, it can satisfy customers' needs. It's meant to build a sustainable, value driven system. And long term, the goal is to create long term customer relationships. So, we want to really think about who are our customers. Well, it's our patients. It's the patient's family and friends. It's the physicians that refer to us, other healthcare providers that may bring us in for consultation. Then we have to think also about those payers that are our customers. And that they will want to contract with us to provide services. So third-party payers, government third-party payers, third-party administrators, usually of some type of a self-funded plan, and then employers that may want to use our services for their employees. Customer value is what we're looking to create. It's the difference between the benefits a consumer perceives from the purchase of a product, service, or idea compared to the cost that it was to acquire those benefits. So what's the definition of a market? Well, the overall definition of a market is it's a collective of individual customers or organizations' wants or needs for a product who have the ability or authority to purchase that product and who could obtain that product legally. Then we start to break that market down into components. So a potential market is the individual consumer or organization wants or needs. The available market is those that are in the potential market who can actually afford to buy the product. Then you look at the qualified available market. That's those who are in the available market that can actually legally obtain the desired product. Then you break it down even further into the target market. That's the individuals in the qualified available market that the business wants to supply with its product. And then you have the penetrated market. That's the actual people who have purchased the product. Market share is the percent of the qualified available market that is served by a single organization. So businesses have three options when it comes to their market share. They can work on growing the market share, work on maintaining it, or they can decide that they're going to drop out of a market completely. There are several different strategies to grow your market share. One is market penetration. That means that you're growing through expanded sales of existing product in existing markets through gain in market share from a competitor, or your current customers choose to buy more product. Another strategy is product development, which is growth due to sale of new products. And then the next strategy is market entry, where this is a little bit more complex. It requires an environmental assessment as part of the strategic planning. Couple different concepts underneath market entry. One is market development, where you're growing through expanded sales of existing product in new markets, such as opening a new PT clinic, maybe in a neighboring community. Market diversification, this is where you're going to show growth through expanded sales of a new product in a new market, such as an adult PT provider deciding that they're going to go into pediatrics near schools. That market diversification, it typically is going to require new skills, new techniques, new equipment, and or facilities to accomplish that strategy. When you're going into a new market, there are several things to consider. How well are your competitors doing in that market? How large is the target market? How many competitors will you have in that market? How strong are those competitors? How many other people are looking to come into that same market that you're looking at? How quickly are current sellers responding, and how sustainable is the product? We want to talk a little bit about market segmentation. This is when a qualified available market is divided into more specific target markets. There's pros and cons to doing market segmentation. The pros, it creates a specific way of communicating about a product for each subgroup of potential customers. So you're looking to create substantial value to a very select group of buyers. This can lead to high customer loyalty, but there are also cons to market segmentation. It could mean that you're neglecting some of your customers. There's the potential for some redundancy, and it does increase cost. So when we talk about dividing that qualified available market into those specific target markets, how do we do that? Well, it can be by age, by gender, occupation, disease, geographic, their values, lifestyle, situational, behavioral, many different ways that you can segment that qualified available market. Then there's the concept of market retrenchment, which is where you're going to make the choice that you're going to drop out of a market segment or a full market. This does have the potential of freeing up some of your resources then to reinvest in your more profitable products. Let's talk a little bit about a niche market. So a niche market is a narrowly defined target market for a very specific product. And when you're developing that niche, you're differentiating your offerings from your competitors. This can be really effective for small businesses that can't afford a diversity of products. So they really will look into what is that niche market. It can lead to profitability, but because you're just working with that niche product, it may actually limit your growth potential. You're going to target, communicate with, sell, and obtain feedback about heaviest users of your product. Market positioning is looking at how an organization wishes to be perceived within the market. Do they want to be a market leader, an innovator, or customer centric? Then we have business to business marketing. Remember early on, I said that our customers are not just our patients. So this would be where we would market to potentially employers who are buying their health insurance coverage for their employees. Can we become a provider? Can we provide services right there, even sometimes at their establishment? You'll see this sometimes with work hardening, functional testing for employees, pre-employment screening. Looking at marketing to local, state, and national governments that might be hiring health policy consultants, marketing directly to the physician practices who are going to be referring patients, and then medical devices and supplies. So we want to talk about our marketing mix. This is really important. These are the variables that we as a business physical therapy provider can actively manage or control. Okay, so that we know we're satisfying the needs of our target market. The marketing mix, the subcomponents of what you can control started out being known as the 4Ps. It's since expanded into the 7Ps. The original 4Ps were product, price, place, and promotion. And then the 3Ps that have been added are physical evidence, processes, and people. So product is one of those things that we control. This is what we're offering for sale and how we're sort of packaging it. What's the image? What are the features that we're marketing out there about why people will want to choose our product? So some concepts underneath product of what we control. Product management, it's monitoring the current products for marketing performance, changing strategy, and changing products when performance fails to meet expectations. Then there's the product mix. That's all of the products an organization has to offer. So if you're part of a really large organization, you may have multiple different physical therapy type products that you have to offer. So when you do a product portfolio analysis, you're working to integrate goal achievement strategies for that entire product mix. Product diversification, it considers all the product strategies in conjunction with one another. The company's more likely to benefit than if individual product decisions are made independently. So as you're looking to diversify your product, you can think synergistic versus conflicting. Synergistic, maybe you're going to continue to offer the same physical therapy products you've always offered, but you're now going to add availability of DME. It's not going to take anything away from your current core business. Versus conflicting, maybe with product diversification, as I said, you've been maybe a long-time provider of adult physical therapy services, but now you want to add on pediatrics. Well, that could potentially, because you're diversifying into a whole new realm where you do need that new skill set, you're going to maybe need different equipment, different facilities, that can actually add cost and distract from core business. So when you look at product diversification, it can add on to current business, or it could potentially cause a little bit of distraction as you're diversifying. Then we have opportunity cost. This is where the opportunities that must be bypassed in order to pursue one business strategy rather than another. It's the benefit of the product not pursued. So, an example of this would be you're trying to make a decision between paying your student loans off early to get rid of that interest versus using that money that you could pay them off early with, maybe to go and get some type of a specialty certification. Okay, so there would be an opportunity cost there. When we look at being able to control product as well, we're looking at product positioning, which is establishing a unique image for the product in the mind of the target market members. So when you're thinking about that image of value, many ways that you'll market that is around the quality, safety, technical leadership, or customer service. Quality really is a big focus in today's healthcare market. There's a lot of transparency and public reporting about healthcare providers, about hospitals, skilled nursing, home health. For example, Medicare and SNF actually has a star rating. So you can go out to this website when you're shopping for maybe the skilled nursing facility where your loved one's going to go for short-term rehab stay, and you can see how many stars that facility has, which is supposed to be their quality ranking. So there's a lot more transparency that's out there. So that is a huge piece when you're thinking about your product. Ways you can do that on a much smaller scale: posting your licenses, posting certifications your staff may have, letters of gratitude, your customer bill of rights, mission, vision, and values to show that you do have that commitment to quality and excellence. There is a product life cycle. There's a fairly predictable way that sales and profitability of products change over time. It's 4 stages. The first stage is introduction, where you're bringing a new product to market. Typically, there's going to be low sales, high expenses, some financial losses because you're having to invest very heavily at the beginning. You have to actually, at this point in introduction, you're having to educate your target market about your product. There are some strategies that you can use to speed up introduction: high profile marketing, preemptive penetration, selective penetration, and low profile marketing. Then you move into stage 2, which is growth, where you're seeing an increase in profit and sales. You may attract some competition during this. And you really have 2 opposing strategies during this time of growth. You can keep your prices stable, decrease your spending, and maximize your short-term product, or you have the option to actually reinvest your profits into those marketing efforts. Then you move into stage 3, which is maturation. This is where you're having high volume and profit with little additional investment in promotion. And then finally, stage 4, which is decline, where there's a decrease in popularity and market share that occurs. Let's move on to the second P, which is price. This is the amount a customer is going to pay in money, time, and inconvenience for the product that you have to offer. It's used by customers to set expectations about how good a product is. There's several different ways that you can set your pricing. So 4 different concepts under cost-based pricing. First is markup, where you mark up by a fixed percentage. Cost plus is where you add an arbitrary margin of profit. Target return is where you have a target percentage that you add to the sum of the costs. And then a payback period, which is where you're looking ahead to when the return on investment will be at a desired level. Competitive pricing is where prices are set in relation to those of your competitors. Prestige pricing is that idea of capitalizing on that perception of you get what you pay for. Very interesting concept of price elasticity. This refers to the relationship between price and product demand. Evidence actually shows that this doesn't always apply to healthcare. People aren't always looking at the price when they need healthcare services, because typically it's going to be that they need it because it's something emergent, or they're not paying as much, attention to pricing because they're not typically paying the bill in full. They've got these third-party payers who are, they're the ones making purchasing decisions, and they're the one that are paying the full bill. There has been an effort over the last several years to have customers get reconnected to the pricing. So that's something you'll see when you hear people talking about the cost lately of deductibles, co-pays, people that choose to participate in healthcare savings accounts. They may be a little bit more aware of that piece of price when it comes to making decisions on what type of product they're going to buy. The next P is place. This is where you can talk about your locations where you choose to deliver a product. What's so great about it? Well, accessibility, convenience, cost, distance from competitors, space, safety, traffic patterns, or potential things that you could be marketing. The next P is promotion. There are various methods that you can use to inform the public about your product and to sell the product. You can use several different things: advertising, direct marketing, personal selling, public relations, sales promotions. There are steps to a promotional program. First, you're developing product awareness, then you're teaching so they have product knowledge. Then there's that concept of differentiating your product from the alternative products and supporting comparisons that favorably represent the promoted product. People then form a product preference based on those first 4 steps, and then they're going to act on that preference by purchasing the preferred product. When you're promoting your product, there are several ethical considerations. First of all, you want to make sure that you're putting patient welfare first. You're not promoting unnecessary services. You're maintaining high standards of honesty and accuracy, and you are accountable to the public. The next P is physical evidence. This is impressions, okay? So this is what I think when I come into your business. What is my first impression? And remember, they tend to say your first impression is your lasting impression. So when I come in and I observe you, when I come in and observe your coworkers, when I come in and observe your front office staff, what are my impressions? So looking at the age and condition of the equipment, the overall cleanliness, the decor, the noise. How easy was it for me before I came in that first time to get everything set up? What was the pre-treatment communication? And what is the interactions that the staff members are having with one another? What their interactions they're having with me? That's going to, is that going to leave a good taste for me or a bad taste? Next P is processes. This is the way a business's activities flow and are coordinated. So as a consumer, if I come in and everything goes very smoothly, your processes are very smooth, it's evident that your operations are something you've really thought about, that's going to instill confidence in me as a consumer. So how easy was it for me to set my appointment and my need for future appointments? How timely have the communications been between me and the clinic and my clinician? How much time did I have to wait? When I was there for my appointment, was the space that I needed to be treated available? Was the equipment I needed available? And, really looking at the clinician that's working with me, did they attend me? Were they engaged in my care? Were they distracted? Did that give me a negative impression? Were they more busy telling me about themselves versus really engaging in the fact that I'm the patient, I'm the one that they're really supposed to be paying attention to? Were they playing on their cell phone? Most clinics now will have no cell phone policies. Remember, it really is about customer service and making sure that you are fully engaged. Do I have the first appointment of the day and my therapist is late and I'm stuck there waiting? So looking at those processes. Next P is people. This is all members of a business. Customer service starts at the first contact. So again, some things you can do is make sure that you're selecting and training your staff appropriately. Look at your technical leadership. So make sure that you're developing a high-performing staff, providing the best technical equipment in appropriate settings, hiring people with superior credentials and strong performance of a work history, and then really important is the ongoing investment in training and development of your current staff. Let's talk a little bit more about service. So this is the concept of personal selling. So the customer service you provide is of the utmost importance, okay? So one of the ways of promoting services and products to potential past and current customers sort of requires you to be the sales agent. It's all about your face-to-face interaction, okay? It allows you to build a relationship with your clients. It provides the client an opportunity to meet and converse with the professional who's going to be working with them. It allows timely response to clients' concerns and misunderstandings. And it's really likely to influence a client's decision to buy once the relationship has evolved, in part because saying no to a helpful person is psychologically uncomfortable. So, this is the way that you can attract new clients, foster repeat business. Mrs. Smith gets hurt again or has to have another surgery, and she had a really positive experience with you. Well, that means Mrs. Smith wants to come back so that you will be the person who treats her again. It helps in your retention and maximization of available treatment. So when you think about the personal selling sales sequence, there's first an opening where you're establishing that working relationship. Next, you're exploring and confirming clients' needs. You're listening, you're questioning, and responding. That goes back to those communication techniques that we've talked about. You're presenting solutions to meet clients' needs, making sure that you're matching needs with appropriate services. So that's, again, evidence-based practice. We're considering, what does the evidence show? What do I know clinically? And what are my patients' values? Responding to any objections, you're working to reduce concerns and provide accurate information. And then finally, it's the closing, where you ask the client if they're ready to buy the service. So we can take that sales concept and look at how that parallels to what we're going to do in physical therapy. So that sales concept of building a relationship, that's about the rapport that you're going to develop with your customers, okay? Developing and nurturing long-term relationships. It rewards loyalty, sales of additional services, repeat business, and positive recommendations. So it may not always be that patient that comes back, but it could be their friends and family that they talked to, or it could be that they went back and raved to their physician about you, and that physician now is going to send more patients your way. The sales concept of collaboration, the parallel in the physical therapy world is patient autonomy. That's where you're working together to solve problems, giving equal consideration to each other's ideas. So that's where you're collaborating on developing that plan of care, okay? Sales concept of listening, the physical therapy parallels patient goals. This is when you're listening 95% of the time and you're questioning 5% of the time, and you are using empathic listening. Sales concept of question parallels in physical therapy to clarify. That's where you're assisting to add precision to a problem, need, or goal, priority, and expectations. Open-ended questions, assumptive, impact, close-ended, really working to get to that root cause of the problem. And there's the concept in the sales world and the physical therapy world of educate. It's where you're providing resources and solutions. Sales concept of confirm in physical therapy, that's our plan of care. That's where it's that you're summarizing what you understand the patient to have said about their needs and expectations, and securing confirmation, which leads to an agreement or informed consent. So now we're getting that consent to treat. Then finally, that sales concept of keep in touch in physical therapy, it's the satisfaction survey. So confirming their next appointment, updating them on new matters. Providing potential additional services, getting feedback after you've seen somebody. Are you doing a patient satisfaction survey? Keeping in touch with former customers, sending them announcements of new services, new staff, if you're having any events at the clinic that you would want to invite. So the customer service that you provide on a daily basis, on a minute-by-minute basis, is extremely, extremely important. And so that's something you want to keep in the back of your head as you're treating, is that, this person could be a repeat customer, or if you potentially provide a very negative impression, negative treatment, you could actually be losing a customer. So you want to keep that in your head at all times, that customer service is of the utmost importance.